like clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols, reaming my body.
Alright guys, Organic Dinosaur recently dropped a bombshell and basically gave us exactly what episode 181, episode 182, episode 183, and episode 184's title are going to be. Now, it's really a bombshell because the titles actually match up with the chapters of chapters 16, 17, 18, and chapters 19. So that pretty much tells us like a ding ding notification that, hey, those episodes right there are specifically going to be adapting the contents in these specific chapters right here. Now, I do want to point out it's not 100% guaranteed that it's going to be these specific chapters, but if I'd put like a percentage behind it, I'd give it like a 95%. This is something that the Boruto anime has already done before. They've literally gave us specific titles of the chapters in the Boruto anime, and those anime episodes did actually represent what happened in those chapters. So I think this right here is going to be absolutely huge. Now, needless to say, I'm going to be talking about what's happening in the Boruto manga and giving you guys spoilers in this episode. Now, the first episode is going to be episode 181. The first thing that we do have to look forward to in chapter 16, or in this particular case episode 181, is going to be the Kado organization meeting about the vessel. In this specific meeting, they're going to be talking about how the vessel was lost. Now, the vessel itself is going to be Kawaki, and I'm pretty sure everybody here knows who Kawaki is going to be. Now, I do want to point out I'm not necessarily going to give you guys every single thing that happens in the chapters, man, because the video will be about 50 minutes long, and I don't really want to make a 50-minute long video. But regardless, the next thing that's going to happen in episode 181, if it does go by how this actually did go in the chapter, is the fact that Victor is going to basically be destroyed by Kashin Koji. Kashin Koji is a member of the Kado organization. He's going to be an extremely beloved character. For the people who know Kashin Koji, I'm pretty sure you guys know why. But regardless, Victor in this episode is going to get smoked. Like literally, he's going to get smoked. Now, the next one is going to be a personal favorite for me. It's going to be Boruto versus Naruto. They're going to spar. It's going to be a very good scene where Boruto pretty much shows how good he is, how much he's grown, because of course Boruto wants to show Naruto that he's a very good ninja. Not only that, of course, Boruto has this delusion that he's potentially stronger than a lot of characters out there. Of course, he did get humbled a lot by Deepa, but regardless, he still has that complex and he still feels like he's a very strong character. So of course, Naruto's going to absolutely humble him in this episode right here. Now, the next one is going to be Konohamaru Mujino finds the blimp. Now, the blimp was basically crashing. The blimp held the vessel, which is basically Kawaki. So of course, that's going to be the cliffhanger at the end of this episode. Now, the next episode is going to be episode 162. It's going to cover chapter 17. Now, in chapter 17, the first thing that happens is Naruto actually gives Boruto a mission. Boruto is going to have to go on a mission with the rest of Team 7, or not necessarily the rest of Team 7, because Konohamaru doesn't necessarily go with him, but he's going to go to a mission to a laboratory, basically about some scientific technology. That's not the important part of this chapter. The next two are the important parts of the chapter. They see Al on the train. Now, Al's going to be a character that they fight in the future. Of course, pretty sure you guys all know that, because we did see him in the last episode, but regardless, they're going to see Al on the train. I'm pretty sure that Al's going to be leaving the Hidden Leaf Village, because he was just at the memorial. Now, the biggest one is going to be the cliffhanger. Kashin Koji is also on the train. He gives Al the mission to actually retain the vessel that they did lose because of the blimp crashing. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, every single scene that Kashin Koji is in, everybody's gonna love it. I just can tell automatically that even the people who don't really know who the character of Kashin Koji is, they're gonna automatically fall in love with this character, man, because he just has that aura about him. I remind you, we didn't even see him in the anime yet, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna have that aura about him that everybody likes. It's gonna be pretty much similar to what Deepa had when he's pretty much the star of the whole Boruto anime for like a solid month or month and a half. Now, the next one is going to be episode 183. That's gonna cover chapter 18. Now, in chapter 18, they have a very underrated fight scene. It's gonna be Sada versus Boruto and Mitsuki. Of course, it's going to be a fair type of battle, man, because Sada is going to also have scientific technology, and Boruto and Mitsuki are going to be going in completely cold turkey. Now, in the Boruto manga, Sada did not have her Sharingans in at all. From what we've seen a couple episodes ago, Sada has 2 tomos. Now, the reason that I believe that Sada didn't necessarily activate her Sharingans in this particular situation is because the Boruto writers didn't necessarily want to spoil the anime viewers to the fact that Sada herself actually had multiple tomos. I'm pretty sure they wanted to have that be a surprise. In the Boruto manga, literally, we did not see any frames with Sada only having 2 tomos in her eyes. So even though we didn't necessarily see Sada with the Sharingans in this particular chapter, when it does get adapted to episode 183, we could potentially see Sada actually activate her Sharingan. Now, another big thing about this chapter was the fact that we actually seen Sumire. Sumire basically like partially quit being a ninja to basically go into this laboratory thing and basically be a scientist, similar to what Katasuke is. Now, Sumire is going to be in this episode. It's going to be like a how should I say, it's going to be like a ship war. Of course, people think that Boruto is going to eventually end up with Sada. Some people think that Boruto is going to eventually end up with Sumire. And this episode right here is not going to do any favors to anybody in terms of the people who are on the Sada and Boruto side. It seems like Sumire and Boruto were kind of flirting in this chapter. Now, we do have to figure out exactly how they make it seem in the Boruto anime, man, because it could possibly be a situation where it just seems like two friends having a conversation. But from what we've seen in the Boruto manga, it didn't look good for the side of the fanboys and fangirls out there. It just did not look good. But regardless, Sumire is going to be in this episode. Now, another big thing is going to be the fact that Team 7 is going to be sent to Konohama's location. At this particular point, we understood that Konohama was also sent out on a mission the same time that Boruto and the rest of Team 7 are also sent out on their mission. The thing about Konohama is the fact that he didn't necessarily contact Naruto back, and Naruto can't necessarily seem to get a hold of Konohama. So because of that, he basically feels worried about Konohama, so he's going to eventually send Team 7 to basically check out and figure out exactly what's going on with Konohamaru. The reason why Naruto did actually make this decision is because obviously Konohamaru and Mujino are on a way more important mission than what Boruto and the rest of Team 7 are on as of right now. And of course, Konohamaru could potentially need some reinforcements to potentially deal with what he's dealing with. Now that right there is going to be episode 183. That's going to be the cliffhanger of episode 183. The next episode is going to be 184. Now this episode is going to cover chapter 19. Now I talked about the Sumire thing, and I talked about how chapter 18 did the Sada fans no favors at all. This right here might have them drop the whole series of Boruto. Sumire actually confesses that she does actually like Boruto, and to top it off, she tells this to Sada. She tells it to, I mean, Sada's going to be down bad in this episode. It's going to be terrible. But even though that right there is going to be a huge thing, that right there is going to be the least of the concerns of everybody else. And that's probably going to be the least interesting part of this particular episode. The next part of this episode is going to be when Team 7 actually does pull up to the site where Konohamaru is. They're going to be immediately met with a couple of puppets, but these puppets aren't necessarily regular puppets. They don't really have a puppet master. They're actually like robots, but they're extremely strong. They basically push Team 7 to like the brink. And then after the puppets, then Ao pulls up. And of course, we understand that Ao is going to be a very strong character and a very difficult person for them to actually beat. This right is going to be extremely significant, mainly because for the Boruto characters, for Team 7 is going to be a huge plot twist. A absolutely huge plot twist, mainly because these kids have basically been told a bunch of stories about the 4th Great Shinobi War and all of the legends that were in the 4th Great Shinobi War. Ao himself is one of those legends. They're going to automatically have so much respect for Ao. So for Ao to right now be opposing them is going to seem absolutely insane. And not only that, he's going to seem extremely intimidating, man, because as I said, he's viewed as one of the legends. Even though he's kind of retired, he looks old right now, half of his body is completely robotic. It's going to be extremely intimidating, especially the fact that they just left the lab where they basically got a crash course in scientific technology. Now you have to fight this character who is already a legend, but now half of his body is filled with scientific technology. It's going to be absolutely terrifying for Team 7. But regardless, that's what these 4 chapters have in store. Now I do want to point out, if you guys want to get more information about these 4 chapters and what we could potentially see in episodes 181, 182, 183, and 184, you guys should definitely read the chapters. To read the chapter, I implore you guys, like I really recommend this, and I really want you guys to do this if you guys do actually want to support the Boruto series, mainly because this right here is one of the more direct ways to actually support the Boruto series. Of course, if you guys like the Boruto series, and it's going to be to actually buy volume 5. Volume 5 is going to be no more than $10. No, literally no more than $10. The thing is, right now it's about like $9 or $8. I know personally that you could buy it on Amazon, but I'm pretty sure you could buy it in other places as well. But of course, it's the pandemic, and I know some of you guys don't really want to spend the money that you guys have. But regardless, the free link is going to be in my comment section below. So of course, if you guys do want to read it for free, there you go. And again, I do want to point out, this is not necessarily 100% confirmed. It's not necessarily going to be as uniform as we all expect it to be. For example, chapter 16 is not going to 100% be episode 181, even though, as I said, I'm about like, I'd say like 95% sure that right there is actually going to be the case. But let me know what you guys think about these episodes and chapters in the comment section below, and give me what you guys are most likely excited for. Me personally, I think it's gonna 100% be all the scenes that Kashin Koji are actually in. But it's been your boy Baara, and we out.
It's a knife.